everyone, we are Geeks Not Nerds. I am Captain Logan.
I'm Eric.
And Eric, our topic today comes from Shant Egian, or Egian. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. It could be that as well. His question is as follows. It seems like in the 80s we got this explosion of original sci-fi and fantasy franchises that we just hadn't seen in any decade since then, like Gremlins, Terminator, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Why do you think that was, and what do you think it will take for Hollywood to get there again instead of just rehashing old franchises?
Gremlins is an interesting pick there over, like, Aliens.
That's true.
Because, like, there's only two Gremlins.
Well, and it may be that that was just a thing he grew up with.
Yeah,
likes a whole lot. I mean, I think Ninja Turtles is an interesting pick as well because those other two things are original properties that weren't based on anything in Ninja Turtle. Yeah. But Ninja Turtles was an original IP that does come out of the 80s.
Yeah. And obviously Indiana Jones and yeah.
The list goes on and on and on.
What's interesting about the 80s, I think, specifically is how many things that aren't franchises that became franchises, or at least IPs. They're like, we keep threatening to reboot and make franchises. Like, almost everything John Carpenter made was one movie, but, like, we've remade a couple of them. We might remake them again. A lot of things like that.
When I was a kid, IP and franchise were not words that were thrown around like they are now.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not even words that I would have understood as a kid.
I feel like just series was what everything was, right? Like, it was the James Bond series, the Star Wars series.
And when they were series. I mean, we have the idea now. It's interesting how we tend to perceive things because so many things have become ongoing series. That we think of, like, a trilogy when it's over, or a couple of movies when we don't make anymore, as that series is dead. But it may not be dead, it might just be finished. And sometimes people who are big fans of things feel like the thing they like is only relevant and matters if we keep making new ones, no matter how bad they are.
I mean, Ghostbusters, I think, is the biggest example of, like, we just want more.
Sure. Yeah.
And, like, and
there's nothing wrong with that, but I think it's a bad move to, like, in your mind or culturally, like, validate things
because they're current.
Yeah, because we're making them now.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, Tron mattered again because we made another one, and then when that didn't really take off and Disney didn't make a third one, now it doesn't matter again anymore. It's like, not if you love Tron.
Yeah,
you know, and like, you can be a fan of a thing that we haven't made for decades too. You know, like, I think there's a difference between, this has nothing to do with the question, but there is a difference between fandoms and franchises.
Well, and I also think that tends to be more powerful, because like a lot, if you're a fan of things right now, and if they're not happening right now, they're not important. You're not really a fan.
Sure.
You're just living with whatever's popular. That's not the same thing.
And the perfect
Star Trek fans went for 15 years without a TV show.
Yeah.
Like, that's different.
And we didn't, like, we wanted something new, but we didn't. I mean, I wasn't there. But, like, you know, Star Trek fans wanted something. I feel like I was. I've read up so much on it. But you know,
well, I guess twice Star Trek has done this.
Yeah, I did live through that.
Yeah,
certainly.
Yeah.
But with that, if you count Abrams, we only had a 4-year lull.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we didn't have a TV show on for a long, long time.
Actual continuity, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
You're still in the Dark Ages.
But anyway, yes, I am. We are well off track of the actual topic, though. So the question basically boils down to: will we ever get to that kind of thing again? What would it take to do that? And why was the 80s the sweet spot? And I think he's right about that.
Okay,
I think that's true.
So there are two things. Okay, the first thing is why the 80s is the sweet spot, and the second thing is, we are getting back to that. It's not as far away as I think people think.
Interesting.
But, okay. So the reason the 80s is a sweet spot is because of Star Wars.
Yes. And new technologies, partly because of Star Wars.
What you had in the 80s that is different from what's come before and what's come after is you did have a bunch of franchise starters. Like, Star Wars creates a new model for Hollywood, and the 80s is living out that model. And everything after that has just been continuing the things that we set up at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, that's what that is.
For better or worse.
Yeah. So, like...
That did a lot of good, it did a lot of bad.
So it was like the Wild West, where, like, everyone was creating all these cool new IPs, but everyone created those cool new IPs, and we just kind of kept going with those.
Yeah.
We didn't keep making them.
Because once we created so many of them at once, then it became about brand recognition, which, of course, I talk about all the time, but, like, I think those things are very much related.
Mm-hmm.
Because even in
and that's what I think about with franchise. Franchise is not a series of movies. Franchise is a series of movies with with toys and with comic book tie-ins, that's a franchise.
Absolutely.
It's merchandise plus series, I guess.
Yeah, and when you have a franchise that nobody's thought about as a franchise in a long time, if you can make it popular again, it's a lot cheaper and a lot less risky than creating something from the ground up.
Mm-hmm. And I think we've talked about this like 100 times.
Yes.
The reason we keep endlessly rebooting things is because you've heard of it.
Well, and this came up. This is part of the reason I wanted to do this, because this came up in the letters pages last time, where somebody asked us why we don't ever remake anything that was bad.
Yeah.
And there might be a good idea that was there, but it was just executed poorly. And of course, the answer is brand recognition, and it's about risk.
One of the things I think is interesting that we've started doing is I don't think we care about the movie. We care about the name.
Yes.
Buckaroo Banzai
exactly right.
is a famous enough name that we might redo that.
And it
doesn't matter that it bombed the box office and it was way too weird for most people. A lot of people have probably heard that name. We banked on that with Blade Runner. We spent too much money.
Well, we'll talk about this a little bit later, or a lot later, I guess, on the Captain's Log. But that very thing happened with the show that Sci-Fi almost made for John Carpenter's Halloween. All they cared about was the name, and the people that wanted to make it actually cared about the material, and so they didn't make it because.
Well, that's not actually Halloween.
I know that.
Okay.
But they didn't.
They just wanted John Carpenter's name.
And they wanted the Halloween in the title somewhere, and they weren't interested in the comic stories. And that was a thing based on it. They wanted to go in and adapt the comics, and Sci-Fi wasn't interested in that.
Yeah.
So it's like what you're talking about.
So the optimistic answer is...
For what would it take?
We're already there.
We're there with TV. We're
there with Netflix. Because Netflix is making original movies.
Yes.
Not just TV shows, they're making original movies now. We are there. It's unfortunate it's not happening in the movie theaters anymore. Movie theaters are dying. The movie industry is dying. So they're doing what you're watching in Hollywood is a bunch of people scramble around and try to keep all their money and try to keep making money, and they don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
Netflix isn't doing that. Netflix is making new properties, and they're giving fun spins on old properties too. They're balancing it, which is what we did in the '80s. People like to act like nothing. Like the '80s was this golden age, and it was. But The Thing is a remake. The Blob is a remake. The Fly is a remake.
Yeah.
We were doing that too.
But they were very much made new again, and you know what the big difference is, at least to me? A lot of those things, maybe they were remade because of brand recognition, but I would argue that even at the time when that came out, most people that went and saw The Thing did not know it was a remake. And most people that went and saw The Blob did not know it was a remake. Maybe The Blob less so. Maybe people knew about that one.
The Fly and The Blob, I think, are a little bit more popular than the original
Even,
Thing.
like, Body Snatchers, people probably knew that was a remake.
Yeah.
But,
that's been remade like 4 times now.
Yeah, but, you get my point, though.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of things got remade back then because... And this does happen now, too, but to a lesser degree, or because of both of these things. Most of the time we would remake something because we had the technology or the vision to make it better.
Well, I mean...
And I don't mean to look at the past with rose-tinted glasses, but I think that happened more back then than it's happening now.
I do think that a lot of stuff Netflix is doing...
And also, movies were making money back then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that was the big industry.
Well, that was the dawn of the blockbuster.
Yeah, and we did... I think it's important to bring up the rift and the that we used to have between TVs and movies that we don't have now. That TVs and TV and movies, especially because of Netflix and streaming things, have become blurred to the point where you cannot tell the difference except for length, which I think is the best thing that's ever happened to us. I think that's wonderful.
I also think a lot of the 80s guys would have been doing TV if TV was where it is now then.
Absolutely.
Star Wars would have been a TV show.
Yeah, sure.
I really do think a lot of those people, like John Carpenter probably would have done TV. Maybe not. I'm not sure.
You know how people talk all the time now about how we have flipped TV and movies where television is where sophisticated stuff happens and that's where we're actually pushing envelopes and telling real stories, and movies are or where like the dumbed down stuff goes.
The thing that you just keep watching because it's on.
Yeah.
There's another Marvel movie. We have to go see it. There's another this.
Isn't it really interesting? Yeah, and that's exactly my point. Isn't it interesting that that flip goes all the way down to TV used to be the same thing every time. Like every episode was the same thing. And people are constantly complaining that movie franchises are doing that movie series are doing that. You hear people say that all the time with Marvel, and whether you think that's true or not, it's interesting that it has that reputation.
Yeah, and across multiple franchises.
So it sounds to me, Eric, like your answer to this is people need to just be savvy enough to realize that movie theaters are not where it's at anymore.
And we have to stop pretending that movies are the end-all be-all of all entertainment, which we've done for years.
And we had it conditioned into us just forever.
It doesn't count until it's a movie. And I think people still feel that way even with things like Netflix. Like Netflix is making movies, but they're not really movies. Right? Like I think there is that like subconscious thought where it's like, yeah, I watched Bright, and like I thought whatever about it, but like it wasn't really a movie because it wasn't in the movie theater.
I mean, I'll go even farther than that. You'll have things that become television shows that are more sophisticated than they would have been on film, that are as well acted as they ever could have been on film, that have budgets and production values that rival big screen, that still don't get the traction they should just because they aren't in the movie theater. If Daredevil was a movie and came out and got $1 billion,
it would have been like Dark Knight.
Yeah, and that first season is every bit as brilliant as The Dark Knight, or more so, in my humble opinion.
I agree as well.
And in our circles, it is very popular and people still continue to love it even though it's gone, but it is not on everybody. It was not on everybody's lips like Deadpool was, and even as popular as it was. Now, I'm not saying that everything is like that. I'm talking about that with adaptation, right? I'm not saying that if Breaking Bad had been a movie, it would have been more popular than it was as a TV show. No, that was a freaking phenomenon. But if Breaking Bad had been adapted from a comic or something first, you might have had that problem. Like I'm talking about this with adaptation. I don't know if I'm right about it, but
no. I think you're right.
At least with superhero, this seems to be the case.
Yeah.
Nothing has come in on television and been as popular, no matter how much money it's made or how many people have watched it, as anything Marvel has made. As most of what Marvel has made. Maybe Daredevil is more popular than Ant-Man, but of most of what we've had.
I don't even think that's probably true. I bet you I bet you more people know who Ant-Man is at this point than Daredevil. Not necessarily like know that the character exists, because like
but can tell you something about it.
Yeah. Or
it also helps.
Or they're just talking about the Ben Affleck movie.
Merchandise helps.
Yes.
And you know what Breaking Bad had that Daredevil didn't have? Merchandise, and a lot of it.
Well, Daredevil's also
so that's interesting.
And Breaking Bad, but like Daredevil's for adults. It's not, you're not sitting down watching Daredevil.
That's what's interesting is so was Breaking Bad, but that did not stop people from buying merch, and then it didn't stop people from making it.
I just knew with the Ant-Man thing.
Yes, with the Ant-Man thing, absolutely. Yeah. Sorry, I jumped off to kind of a different topic.
More kids know about Ant-Man than Daredevil. But yeah, I think we're there. Just you have to stop thinking that movies are the end-all be-all of adaptation.
And it's hard, right?
Or not even just adaptation, but like material or of entertainment.
Do that because I completely agree with you, and yet what is the majority of the news we cover on Captain's Log?
Yeah,
it's mostly theatrical stuff.
Yeah, and it's and I think people still have this thought of like, well, it's just like it's so big, like it's important because it's big. There's so much money in it.
Yeah,
a lot of TV shows have still have gotten. I guess it's not movie scale like that. I guess that's what we still go to the movies for is that scale.
Yeah, a lot of TV shows.
But a lot of TV shows are pretty close.
Every bit of that scale, and the only difference is we still talk about movies the same way we always used to, and we don't do it with TV shows. So you never hear people talk about what a TV show's budget is, even episode to episode. Like sometimes,
unless it's absurd,
really knows their stuff will bring it up, but like. Everybody that talks about movies and especially blockbusters know how much the blockbusters cost, and they know how much they raked in, when opening weekend or whatever.
Well, and for me personally, the spectacle's almost lost because it's all just CGI gobbledygook.
Yeah.
And maybe the CGI gobbledygook doesn't look as good on TV, but Game of Thrones is just as big. It probably looks better than Lord of the Rings at this point because it came 15 years later, even though it's on TV. Game of Thrones is a huge fantasy epic. Just as big as anything that we've ever put on screen.
I think your answer it can be looked at in one of two ways. I think depending on your mindset and depending on how much you're clinging to the past, your answer could be looked at as very positive or very cynical. Because on the one hand, it means, well, we are getting a lot of original things, or we're basing stuff on comics and books that have never been adapted. You just have to go to the right place to find it. And there is so much, side note, there's so much oversaturation right now in television, and when I say television now, I mean everything that's not in the movie theater. So I'm still talking about movies when I say that. I don't actually mean television. I mean every format that's not the movie theater, and not just network broadcast. But there's so much oversaturation now that there's a bunch of new stuff you've never heard of that you don't know about. There just is, and unless you're a TV-ophile and you keep up with everything, you don't know how much is out there right now. Well,
and we've also talked about before, the streaming model has made things even more complicated, because we used to know when TV shows came out. It's year round now.
Yes,
it's monthly. New TV shows come out every single month.
You used to set your watch by it, and now there's no keeping up. It's impossible, and because of how many hours there are in your day. When you're working and you have kids, or you have you gotta go to school, whatever it is you have to do, and you have to sleep, and you only have so many hours in your life where you exist that you can watch things. You can't possibly watch everything, and you never could, but you really can't now. And this is a good problem in a way. You can't see everything that's good. I think there was a time where you almost could see everything that was good.
At least on TV.
If somehow, at least on TV, if somehow you were handed a list and you believed it, that everything you were going to watch was quality, at one time you could have maybe done that. Not true anymore.
In 1995, barring shows airing at the exact same time, I think you could have watched every good TV show.
Yeah.
If you have HBO, you could have watched every good TV show.
I think so. I think so too. But so, if you're okay with change and you see this as progress, your answer is optimistic.
Yeah, we just have to deprogram ourselves that movies are the most important thing.
If it freaks you out that we are losing movie theaters and the only thing keeping them around that is making them survive is being safe, then that's a really sad answer. I think it's both optimistic and sad. Because I don't want to see movie theaters go away either, but something has to give. Something's got to change. I wanted to use this analogy earlier. Movie theaters have exactly the same problem that cable does right now. They're both living in the past. They're both trying to force everybody to continue keeping them alive somehow. And they're both outmoded and they're ready to end. I don't mean leaving your house to go see something on a very large screen with great sound and a comfortable chair is outmoded. I mean the stuff that they're selling to get you there is. I feel that maybe I brought this up before. I feel like movie theaters need to do the same thing that you and I keep saying comics need to do, which is put certain things out in the theater and then later, or even simultaneous, I guess. Movies are already like this, where you put it, you go see it, and then later you buy it. I get that. But maybe just a couple weeks go by now. You know what I mean? Maybe we show a lot more stuff. There's more variety, and it's not Hollywood. It's like whoever's making anything good, it goes into a theater because it's a spectacle and it's worth seeing big. But it's also you also can tell good, more sophisticated stories. And the question is just how long will people sit? You know what I mean? Can you put binge shows in the theater?
Well, and also
how much of it could you put there?
Also, there's lots of things they could fix. There have been problems for decades.
Yeah.
How about we have better control of people who bring their kids in and they just won't stop screaming or crying or whatever?
Yeah.
How about that?
But we're losing a lot of etiquette because. Partly, I think, because people don't have enough incentive to leave their homes anymore.
But, I feel like in the 90s, in the 80s, I feel like you can find comedians going almost all the way back complaining about people in movie theaters.
Oh, yeah.
That's always been a problem. We've never done anything about it. Maybe if you want people to come...
do.
I don't know, but I know that as, 15 years ago, I was hearing people be like, I don't go to the movie theater because I don't want to deal with the other people there.
Sure.
And I think people still have that mindset, because it hasn't gotten any better. People on their phones.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is,
just hire Lou Ferrigno, who just breaks people's phones.
The technology does make it worse. because there's just so much else vying for your attention.
But
yeah, I think I agree with you. I mean, that answer is really interesting. Like you're right. But I feel like you do too. I still complain about the we can't get original stuff in the movie theater problem.
Mm-hmm.
And so that makes it feel like we're not getting original stuff. But then I always go to, yeah, but we are. It's just someplace else.
I think we just all have to come to, the only reason to go to the movie theater is to see big spectacles. The only reason worth spending that money is to go see big spectacles. And big spectacles are going to be things that you've heard of before. We aren't going to risk $200 million.
What I don't like
and usually when we do, it doesn't work out.
Can I disagree with you to a degree? There are a lot of films I have seen that are not blockbusters, that didn't have special effects, that I was glad I saw big.
But I just don't think that's the way it is anymore. Like, I feel like this is what we're moving towards.
I don't feel like that keeps movie theaters open, but that will make me sad not to have movie theaters.
Sure.
Do you see what I'm saying?
No, I know what you're saying. Like I get seeing, like very powerful dramatic films there. I just don't think that's what they're there for anymore, or that's not what they're going to be there for much longer.
And we do have the 80s to blame for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and George Lucas and Steven Spielberg specifically.
Yeah, sure.
But I think within the next decade, you're going to see some really big names jump ship. I would not be surprised if Scorsese started making films for Netflix or Hulu. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Tarantino's got his 10 thing where he's making 10 movies. After that,
if he says... was making more, though, he would...
He says after that he's going to go write novels. We'll see. But, maybe he moves to TV. I could see him making a Netflix show. Even if it's documentaries about films.
Sure.
I could see some really big theater names going... The second Steven Spielberg or George Lucas makes something for Netflix or Hulu, it's over. Right? Steven Spielberg's movie... I guess Steven Spielberg has produced TV as well, but,
He's produced a lot of TV,
yeah,
sure.
But, I think that's coming. I don't think
Spielberg's ever directed anything for television.
I think he's directed an episode of anthology shows here and there. I think he might do an episode of Tales from the Crypt.
You made me think of something. This is neither here nor there. This is kind of another side note, but is it interesting that Whedon helped to pioneer ongoing sophisticated storytelling on television, and then he went the wrong way.
Well, but he's coming back. He's making that HBO show.
He is going back, I know, but isn't that weird, though? That just as this was happening, he then went and made big movies?
Well,
I just think it's really interesting.
You have to remember, Whedon got in it to make movies.
Right.
And did not want to be a TV guy because his father was a TV guy, and I think his grandfather was a TV guy. He didn't want to be a TV guy.
Sure.
And so he changed TV, but I think that was coded in him. TV's not real. Even though he changed the face of television, movies is what he wanted to be doing, and so we got to do some movies.
I just think there's almost an inherent irony in that.
I also think Whedon could do... I mean, he's doing that new show, which I think is HBO, but, he could do a Netflix movie. And guys like him specifically, who are, big fan names, but aren't, they're not like Spielberg, where, normal people know who they are, or Tarantino, or, you know what I mean? I think guys like that... But also, Shane Black should go to Netflix.
But also, I would argue that he was ahead of the curve. I think Whedon was making the kinds of things that would have gone to streaming had streaming been a thing when he made them. So if he had made Dr. Horrible, if Netflix is streaming like it is now in 2007, that's where Dr. Horrible goes. It doesn't go on some random website.
Well, I don't know how Netflix operates within the Writers Guild, because remember, that's the writer strike thing.
I don't either. Yeah, no, okay, that's fair. That's maybe a bad example.
But Firefly could absolutely be a Netflix show.
But I'm not talking about TV shows. I'm talking about movies. It's Cabin in the Woods could have been a Netflix thing.
His Much Ado About Nothing.
Much Ado About Nothing was the other big thing I thought of.
Yeah. It's interesting he didn't do any other movies after that. He did Much Ado About Nothing in between.
I know.
And then he just kind of disappeared. Well, I mean, he got in trouble, but
Well, he did Much Ado before in between the Avengers movies.
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And then after Ultron, he's kind of nothing. I know he's working on a show now, but maybe his life was just falling apart. And he
was thrown out hard.
Yeah.
He talks like the biggest mistake he ever made was going right into Ultron. Even though that was a passion project for him.
And we assumed that wasn't happening to the Russos, but they're jumping ship too. They were yeah, we're done. We'll come back if we make if they're going to make Secret Wars, but other than that, we're done.
I think they're just really good at keeping that kind of stuff under their hat.
Yeah. But it sounds like they might also be burned out.
Those are two of the best PR guys I've ever seen.
Yeah.
making movies. But
well,
anyway.
also not sounding like robotic and programmed.
Absolutely.
They still sound like people.
They walk that line really well.
Yeah.
Eric, let's go into rants. Do you have a rant?
Ranting!
You have anything you want to complain about?
I'm going to complain about something.
Okay, but now you have to do this the entire time.
I'm going to complain about an old chestnut. An old wire chestnut. Wire chestnuts are delicious. We should put them in more things. It is ridiculous. How about... Don't make a salad and not have wire chestnuts, right? Like, that's ridiculous. Get out of here. Wire chestnuts, everything. If there are vegetables, wire chestnuts should be there.
I'm not the biggest fan of water chestnuts.
They're ridiculous. Fun. They crisp. They crunch and crisp so well.
I like them in Asian food. That's about it. They're fine.
We should replace croutons with chestnuts. That's all I'm saying. Croutons, you can't.
But I love croutons.
Yeah, but how you eat them? Your fork, it breaks them apart into pieces, and it doesn't. They're hard to get. No, wire chestnuts every time.
Well, that's why you should eat salads with chopsticks, even if it's not an Asian salad.
Sure.
Because chopsticks, you'd have no trouble with croutons.
You're right. Wire chestnuts. It's a way of the future.
Water chestnuts. Tell your friends.
Yeah. My rant is about DVDs. I don't know if you've noticed this because you don't work in a retail location, but you do buy DVDs, so you might have this.
I do.
So you might have this.
Right.
We've stopped putting things on the back of DVDs, and it's really annoying. You know how we used to put... I mean, like, year, runtime...
Well, year's always been a problem, and I have complained about that in the past.
Actors...
Yep.
Directors... Like, this is a problem somewhat for me because of my job, where where like somebody asks a question, I look on the back, I'm like, well, it'll say, right, no, it does not say who the director was or what actors are in this or whatever, right?
And you can't even find that official, like, thing that has, like, the name of the movie and then all the stuff after it?
Yeah. No, it's just like copyright stuff.
Is that called something?
I don't know.
I was sitting here like, what do you call that?
Back credits.
It's called something.
But yeah,
it's always on movie posters.
Yeah. It doesn't. It's not there. A lot of DVDs don't have that anymore. But like, even if you're not me doing my job, you can't pick a movie up and just look. If you buy that movie and you need quick reference, it's not there. One of the worst things. How many times have we sat down to watch a movie and like we're deciding what movie to watch and we're like, oh well, how long is it? Like we're gonna watch a short one. We don't have a lot of time.
You gotta look it up.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Information should be on the back of the box. That's what it's there for.
More and more, I am finding that you have to make sure that your phone is at full battery power. Just more and more.
Yep. And I shouldn't have to do that. That's my rant. Put the information back on the back of the... Look, get rid of the critics. Get rid of the Rotten Tomatoes fresh. No one gives a crap. They've heard about your movie. No one has ever bought a movie because it says 2 thumbs up on the back of it. Get rid of that crap and put back the information.
Is it because we're trying to look sleek, or is it because we're getting lazy because we're like, people aren't buying these like they used to, and when they come out, it's kind of obligatory, and a lot of it, like, I don't mean everything is like this. Obviously, you have big releases where we still put out. I would be very interested, though, to know what the unit number is now versus what it was even 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I should look into that at some point. That would be interesting. But, like, because I've talked to you before, Eric, about people who, like, will make fun of me because I actually buy things physically.
Well, those people are fools.
You know there are people who... Yeah, but... These people have been, they're always a lot younger than me. Some people, and I don't mean this against everybody that's a lot younger than me, but like you have people who have been conditioned to think that, well, it is stupid to buy physical things because it takes up space. And like, yeah, it is more convenient not to have it, but also it's more likely that I'll be able to keep it for a long time. And that's part of why I do it.
And those people are going to cry when all the Marvel movies leave Netflix. They have to choose between having Disney streaming and Netflix.
Precisely. And in the long run, they're going to spend more money.
Yeah.
But,
I made this mistake. I sold all of Buffy, and then it left Netflix. I know it's still on Hulu, but it's not going to be there forever.
Sure.
I have to rebuy Buffy and the X-Files.
Yeah.
And
and I mean, I had that with 24. You know,
yeah.
Like I've got it. It's in places now, but for a while you couldn't watch it anywhere, and I didn't own it. But anyway, but I mentioned that to say, like, is it because these companies are thinking that the only people that buy DVDs or Blu-rays now are like diehard movie people, and they're just like, well, they know all that stuff anyway.
Like, but that's not true.
No, it's not true.
Specifically DVDs.
It's absolutely not.
Specifically DVDs, because I get screwed.
I'm just trying to decide why it changed. I'm trying to figure out why it changed.
My guess is laziness. But like, because I get screwed on DVDs, because the thinking is people are just going to watch movies are going to buy the DVDs. So we don't have to put any special features on them. All the special features go on the Blu-ray. Sometimes like I don't have the Nice Guys Blu-ray, but there's a special feature on the Blu-ray that's not on DVDs. There's a small document, like a 10 to 15 minute little thing on DVD, and I know when I buy that Blu-ray, that extra documentary feature or whatever is also going to be like 10 to 15 minutes. It's not going to be a real special feature,
That's
right?
Yep.
Like, and we're doing a lot of those where like it's like a 5-minute feature. You know what I'm talking? Like you look on the Marvel DVDs, and it's a lot of like 5-minute features.
Can I complain about one?
Yeah.
At the risk of this going longer, I still gotta do my rant. Let me grab something real quick.
Okay.
Okay, so I didn't have any place to talk about this on the Omnibus either, so I guess I'll do it here.
Oh yes, of course.
Okay, so I bought the first season of The Orville, and apparently the only reason to own this is because you want to be able to watch it and not to know anything about the show. So when you look at the back, and I don't want you to read like everything, but look at all the bullet points for special features. Look at how many special features there appear to be.
That's quite a few.
Mm-hmm. I looked at them. None of them are worth looking at. None of them, except for the Q&A with cast and creative team, which is basically a con panel.
Which you can probably find online.
Yeah, you can probably get that online. And we do this a lot where like the only special feature worth looking at is a con panel. Every one of these features is a thing, and I can't believe they listed out the names of them all. They're all just little things that they put out on TV when the show came out.
Oh, no.
To promote the show, and none of them are longer than like 3 minutes.
There's a lot of that. It's ridiculous. But I'm getting screwed because of this, right?
Like, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because I have to go buy the Blu-ray or whatever now, right? And I hate that. I hate being the guy. And I
don't think this was even on Blu-ray. Like, I don't think they had special features
and behind the scenes has changed. Like, it's now just more like shilling the product you've already purchased.
That's right.
Like, it's not the same as it used to be. But like, I still want to listen to commentaries, and I hate when I have to buy Blu-rays just to get the commentary.
Well, but what's really sad is much of the time we don't even get commentary, especially for TV. You don't get commentaries like you used to for TV, and it drives me crazy.
Have you bought Tomb Raider yet?
Yeah, I have Tomb Raider.
Okay, because it's down to at least $7.99 at my store.
I bought it pretty cheap when I bought it.
Okay.
I think I bought it for $10.
I was looking at the special features on the back of that DVD, and it's got like 3 or 4, and I'm sure they're all like 5 minutes. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, Target had like a buy 2 get 1 sale at one point. So Sarah and I bought new things that we cared about, and we watched 2 of those 3 and Tomb Raiders, the one we haven't watched yet. I don't remember. Maybe we did watch Tomb Raider. I can't remember.
Remember when we used to go all out for every single movie?
Yeah,
like
I know.
Like if you grab League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, I guarantee you, there's like 5 different documentaries, all 20 minutes apiece, and like 6 commentary tracks.
Yeah.
I listened to one of those commentary tracks.
But we don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
And it's really sad, like, we didn't get anything for any of the Netflix shows.
Yes.
Anywhere.
Yep.
And, like, I really wanted to hear those people talk about that show.
Yeah.
I mean, Daredevil specifically.
Yeah. I also would have loved... I would have loved a behind the scenes on Luke Cage.
Oh yeah, of course.
I would have loved the creators to talk about like what Luke Cage meant to them, if he meant anything, if they came in completely blind, like went and read the old stuff and what they thought of the old stuff, and like all of that stuff. Because I watched a documentary on Milestone Comics, a lot of people are real discouraging of the Luke Cage comics, where they're like, yeah, it was cool there was a black guy, but he talked like an idiot, and I didn't know anybody talked like that. Like it was clearly like white Jewish guys writing this black guy, and so I want to hear.
Were trying.
But I want to hear the guys that made Luke Cage talk about that.
Yeah.
And how they translated that and updated it and made it more authentic. Like I think there's some really interesting stuff to say on the Luke Cage show.
And by contrast, I would have liked to have heard the people making Iron Fist talk about that because it would have been hilarious.
Yes.
Eric,
thank God there aren't special features on that DVD.
So I have a rant.
If there is that DVD,
I don't even know if they put that out. Yeah.
I think they did.
So I have a rant.
What is your rant?
Well, I have.
You said it might be a
rant. Thing that's not. Yeah, that's not a rant so much as just a what? Like, why is this happening? Did you watch the commercials I sent you?
Said hey, say who, what? No, I sorry, I forgot to.
That's okay.
We were busy.
So, KFC got the RoboCop license.
Okay. Can I tell you why this isn't the craziest thing in the world?
Do you know about this?
No. But can I tell you why it's not the craziest thing in the world?
Okay, go ahead.
Very famously, you can find a number of them. RoboCop was farmed out to Japan, and it was like, you remember when Homer's likeness was farmed out to Japan? He's in all those commercials. It's like that. He's like Mr. Clean selling like fish sticks.
But did they treat him like RoboCop?
No.
Okay, this does.
Weird.
This is very strange. So let me explain this, since you didn't get a chance.
I guess they're just like, whoa, it's. I don't know. They're speaking Japanese. It's not translated. I just know he walks through a wall, has fish sticks, and everyone's like, whoa.
These are short, and I'm going to show it to you because you need to look at this before
live
we talk
reaction.
about it. It's so weird.
Okay.
So there is.
And why RoboCop? Why now?
That's what I'm saying. Thanks for catching up. God, he's like, this is why it's not crazy. Yes, it is. Shut up. Just listen. It's crazy.
I'm just saying there's a precedent for RoboCop being
that's not
merchandise.
Yeah, but okay. So like, there's not a movie. It's not a tie-in to anything.
I mean, there is a movie, but it's probably not that one.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, there's not like a RoboCop movie coming out right now that they're like trying to advertise.
Yeah.
There's not there's no reason for RoboCop to be selling chicken, and that's what it is. It is RoboCop. It is Colonel Sanders becoming RoboCop, and his prime directive is to keep the secret recipe from getting out.
Oh.
And it uses the theme song. Like, whoever is in the marketing department for KFC...
Like, loves RoboCop?
Freaking loves RoboCop. It's so weird, but I can't decide how to feel about it. I'm just going to show you this.
Howdy, folks. Try my $20 fill-up. You have 10 seconds to comply. You now have
watching the old
5
RoboCop.
seconds to comply.
Yeah.
That kid is too young to be watching RoboCop.
That's true.
Okay.
Try any $20
No, listen.
fill-up at KFC.
They're using the theme song.
Okay, but at least in that instance, that was an Asian family, and I think that's an intentional reference.
Okay.
That was an entirely Asian family. I think this is some kind of weird reference to those weird Japanese commercials.
Okay, maybe. That might be a coincidence.
Hungry boy. Enjoy.
And that sounds like not Frank Welker, Weller?
Yeah, it's not
Peter
Frank
Weller.
Or Peter Weller,
Yeah,
excuse
it sounds
me.
like
Yeah.
Peter Weller.
No, it's the guy who's been playing Colonel Sanders.
If I told you, I'd have to kill you.
He's doing a good Peter Weller.
Ha 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 ha. Ha The Colonel's secret recipe. You can eat it, but you can't.
Okay.
It's so weird.
Okay.
And they made like a 2-minute video with a whole backstory about how he became RoboCop.
Okay. I was going to show the Japanese ones because they're actually kind of similar to that. Like, one of those, I think he actually does throw things when he catches in the mouth.
Okay, sure.
Okay. What I believe this is...
But forget that. Forget what you know. That's weird for us.
But I think this is pop culture cannibalizing itself. I think they think that we're going to know that there's weird Japanese RoboCop commercials.
I don't.
You think so?
I don't at all.
You don't think so?
And we won't. I've never heard of that.
Okay.
Like no, you're like
okay.
You just happen to have this knowledge that 98% of the country wouldn't have.
Okay.
Like seriously, that is going to look weird to most people who see it. And also, RoboCop's not a thing that a lot of people know.
No.
It's very strange.
No, it is
that they picked
weird.
that.
But I wonder if
you're
that
all hung up on the fact that you know a thing that informs that. Okay, it informs it, but it's such a weird choice in
2019
in advertising a thing, and like it doesn't have anything to do with chicken or anything. And they like made that their new mascot. But they already had a mascot, so they took their mascot and they had him turn into a different mascot. It's very, very strange. And also, like, I start overthinking it, where I think about the satire of RoboCop and what it's about.
Oh yeah, that's horrifying.
And it's weird that this big mega corporation is using RoboCop, but seems to get the satire of RoboCop, but they're doing the same thing with it, but to sell chicken? I don't know how to feel about that. It's weird.
It's weird.
It's also hilarious.
Yes.
I mean, it's really funny. That's why I don't know how to feel about it. I want somebody to cosplay that. Like, out of
that will happen, right?
Yeah.
If those commercials stick around, that will happen.
That's been going on for the last couple of weeks. It'll be interesting to see if it catches on. Or maybe it's been longer, but I just noticed it recently.
Okay. Wow. It's weird.
It just started.
It's really weird.
It's very strange. Yeah, but I didn't realize that I'm with you.
Someone
was probably
there
inspired.
knows,
Somebody knows that, but they can't think everybody knows about those.
I don't know anymore what they think people know because memes are so... Like, it's weird, right?
When we sell things a lot on non sequitur and...
But we sell things a lot on, like, memes that got popular, and, like, they're not popular, like, 6 seconds later, and so, like, if you weren't paying attention for the 6 seconds where that was popular, like, you might have missed it.
But I also think we sell a lot of things on this doesn't make sense and that's why it's funny.
Yes.
Where it wasn't based on a meme at all. It was just some weird thing. Like, you don't even know what you're... It's hard to even tell what's being sold sometimes.
Yes. Yes.
Anyway, so yeah.
Thank you, Old Spice.
Yes,
I think
Old Spice.
And I continue to this day to use Old Spice because of those commercials.
Yeah.
Because I thought they were really funny.
They don't make any sense.
And now everyone's doing them.
Yeah.
Which is less funny.
We should do a GNN about what has happened in commercials because it's interesting.
Yeah.
There's weird stuff.
I don't watch enough commercials. I don't know if I really have that. Well, I guess I just see them like on YouTube and stuff.
Well, and I had that for the longest time, but like I've been watching basketball this year, so I keep seeing I hadn't seen commercials for years, and then I'm seeing commercials again, so I have opinions because what happened to advertising?
I saw a little bit when I was on vacation. I watched Age of Ultron on Sci-Fi Channel. That was weird. That was a weird experience.
Did they cut it out?
And the TV was staticky. So it was like watching Age of Ultron, but like in 1997. It was very strange. It was a very strange experience.
Did they cut anything out of it?
It was just a big final battle, so I didn't notice. I didn't watch like the whole movie. I was just watching
okay.
like I just didn't have anything else to do, so I was watching a little bit.
Well, folks, thanks a lot for watching. We sure appreciate it. If you are watching in the playlist, just let it keep rolling, and you'll see the Captain Marvel spoiler cast. That's the next thing that we're going to tackle. And if you're just watching this video, you can click on the link in the description for the playlist, and that will let you see everything that we did for this omnibus. These videos will each be posting day to day for the next 3 weeks, but you can look at them now if you are so inclined. And in the meantime, thanks so much for watching this video. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
See you later, folks.